There's a strange moment happening in the stock market right now, and almost nobody's talking about it. 3 companies that have paid rising dividends for decades, companies you probably have in your kitchen or your car right now, are trading at prices that make absolutely no sense compared to their true worth. And by the time most people notice, the discount will already be gone. If you care about building an income stream that keeps growing every single year, stay with me for the next few minutes, because what I am about to show you could change how you think about your retirement portfolio. Think about it for a second. These are not obscure startups burning through cash while promising future profits someday. These are businesses that have already survived the 2008 financial crisis, the pandemic shutdowns, runaway inflation, and every interest rate shock in between, and they still found a way to send shareholders a bigger check every single year. That kind of track record is rare, and when the market temporarily loses interest in boring, reliable businesses like these in favor of chasing the next flashy headline, patient investors are usually the ones who benefit the most once reality sets back in. Before we go further, if you are someone who wants steady growing income from real businesses instead of chasing hype, hit that subscribe button right now on TickerHawk, because every week we dig through the market to find exactly these kinds of opportunities before everyone else catches on. Now let's talk about why dividend investing still works, even in a market obsessed with artificial intelligence and fast-moving technology stocks. The truth is, the companies that quietly raise their dividend year after year are often the ones that survive every recession, every panic, and every crash. They do it because their products sit in nearly every household in America. People buy them whether the economy is booming or struggling. And when you can buy shares of these businesses below their real value, you're not just collecting a growing paycheck. You are also setting yourself up for solid price appreciation once the market wakes up and corrects the mispricing. If you are somewhere in your late 40s, your 50s, or even a little past it, you already know that this stage of life calls for a different kind of investing mindset than someone in their 20s chasing the next hot trade. You're not looking to double your money overnight. You're looking for businesses that keep paying you, keep raising what they pay you, and let you sleep well at night, regardless of what the headlines say tomorrow. And that is precisely the kind of setup we're looking at with these 3 companies right now, and it is worth taking the time to actually understand why the market has mispriced them, rather than just glancing at a stock screener and moving on. So let's start with the first name on our list today, a company almost every person watching this video has visited more than once in their life. This business runs on a franchise model, meaning thousands of independent owners run the actual restaurants, while the parent company collects royalties, licensing fees, and rent. That model produces incredibly consistent cash flow, which is exactly why this company has been able to raise its dividend for close to 50 straight years. Right now, shares are trading well below what a careful valuation model would suggest they are actually worth. And a large part of why the market is undervaluing this business comes down to perception. A lot of investors still picture this company as an old-fashioned burger chain with limited room to grow. But that picture is outdated. Delivery partnerships have massively expanded how many customers each single location can serve without adding a single extra seat inside the restaurant. Self-order kiosks are cutting down wait times and reducing how many staff members are needed per shift, which directly improves profit margins at the store level. And in select cities, food is now being delivered by small autonomous robots, cutting delivery costs even further while keeping the experience convenient for the customer. Because the parent company earns money through franchise fees rather than running every location itself. Any technology that helps individual restaurants become more profitable also makes it more attractive for new franchise owners to open additional stores. That creates a flywheel effect. More efficient stores lead to more locations lead to more royalty income, and more royalty income leads to more room for dividend growth. This is a business built for decades, not just quarters, and the current share price does not reflect where the company is quietly heading. There's also something worth mentioning about brand loyalty here that spreadsheets alone cannot capture. Walk into almost any town in America, large or small, and you will find this brand sitting right off the highway exit, recognized instantly by people of every generation. That kind of familiarity translates into steady foot traffic no matter what is happening in the broader economy, because when families are tightening their budgets, a meal here is still seen as an affordable treat rather than a luxury they need to cut. During periods of economic uncertainty, the trade-down effect from more expensive, restaurants often works in this company's favor rather than against it, which helps explain why its cash flow has remained so dependable through so many different economic environments over the decades. If you're finding this breakdown useful, drop a quick comment and let me know which of these 3 companies you already own, because I read every single comment, and it helps me pick the next stocks we cover. Let's move to the second company on our list, and this one is a masterclass in operational discipline. This business owns a portfolio of household brands that most Americans use every single day without even thinking about it, from cleaning products to personal care items sitting in bathroom cabinets across the country. What makes this company special is not just the brands themselves, but how efficiently management runs the entire operation. They have built a reputation for buying up smaller, fast-growing brands and folding them into their existing distribution and marketing machine, squeezing out cost savings that smaller competitors simply cannot match. Right now, this company is dealing with a couple of short-term headwinds. Import tariffs have made certain manufacturing costs higher, since some goods are produced outside of the United States. On top of that, with the cost of living squeezing household budgets, more shoppers are trading down to cheaper store brand alternatives instead of paying for the name brand version. That combination has put pressure on both sales growth and profit margins over recent quarters, and that pressure is a big reason the stock has fallen out of favor. But here is what long-term income investors understand that short-term traders often miss. This company has handled exactly these kinds of pressures for generations, and one of its quiet tricks is adjusting package sizes rather than sticker prices. Instead of raising the price on the shelf, they might slightly reduce the amount of product inside the container while keeping the price the same. Most shoppers, especially after a long, tiring day at work, are not doing unit price math while standing in the aisle. They are simply grabbing what they need. This kind of subtle pricing power, repeated across dozens of product categories and thousands of stores, has protected profit margins for this company for decades, and there is no reason to think that playbook stops working now. Combine that pricing power with a dividend that has been raised every year for well over 6 decades, and you have a business that has proven through wars, recessions, inflation spikes, and supply chain crises that it knows how to protect and grow shareholder income no matter what the economy throws at it. It also helps to remember just how difficult it is for a brand new competitor to actually dethrone a company like this. Building trust with millions of households for products people put on their skin, used to clean their homes, or rely on for their families takes years, sometimes generations. And this company already has that trust, locked in across dozens of categories at once. A smaller competitor might win in one narrow niche for a while, but rarely can they match the sheer scale of advertising, shelf space, and research budgets that a company of this size can deploy. That scale advantage is exactly why short-term headwinds like tariffs and cautious consumer spending tend to be temporary bumps rather than permanent damage to the underlying business. Before we get to our third pick, I want to remind you that none of this is personal financial advice. It is simply research and analysis to help you form your own opinion. So please always do your own homework or speak with a licensed advisor before making investment decisions. Also, if this kind of breakdown is helpful, sharing it with a friend who is also building a dividend portfolio genuinely helps this channel grow, and I would really appreciate it. Now, the third and final name we are covering today might surprise a lot of long-term investors because most people think of this company as simply a beverage business. In reality, its snack food division, which includes some of the most recognizable chip and snack brands on grocery store shelves, is actually more profitable than its beverage business, especially here in North America. That is a detail a lot of casual investors completely overlook. This company is facing similar pressures to our second pick. Tariffs are pushing up costs by forcing more manufacturing to shift back inside the United States, where production tends to be more expensive. At the same time, shrinking disposable income is pushing some households to cut back, drink more water instead of soda, and reach for fruit or a piece of bread instead of a bag of chips. On top of that, there's a newer trend worth watching closely: appetite suppressing. Weight loss medications are becoming more widely used, and that is gradually reducing how much of these salty and sugary products people are consuming. It is a real long-term challenge that management is not ignoring. To adapt, this company has been rolling out healthier product lines and steadily increasing the share of its revenue coming from better-for-you options. It has also mastered something Procter & Gamble does just as well, offering the exact same product in many different sizes and price points. Maybe a shopper does not want a giant 2-liter bottle this week, so they grab a small single can instead. Maybe another shopper wants a large multi-pack to stock the pantry for the whole month. Whatever the budget, there's a package designed to fit it, and that flexibility keeps customers loyal even when they are being more careful with spending. It is also worth pointing out that this company owns its own bottling, distribution, and logistics network across huge parts of the country, something many beverage competitors simply do not have to the same degree. That level of control over the supply chain means fewer middlemen taking a cut, tighter control over costs, and the ability to react quickly when a certain product line starts gaining momentum in a specific region. Combine strong snack margins, a growing healthier product lineup, and one of the most efficient distribution networks in the entire food and beverage industry, and you start to see why this business has kept raising its dividend for more than 50 consecutive years, even while riding out shifting consumer tastes generation after generation. Now, here is where things get genuinely exciting for income-focused investors watching this video. The dividend yields on all three of these companies are sitting at levels we simply have not seen in a very long time. The beverage and snack company we just discussed is currently yielding north of 4% on a trailing basis, and forward estimates suggest that yield could climb even higher. The household products company is yielding just under 3%, and the restaurant franchise giant is offering a yield in a similar range as well. For companies with this kind of brand strength, balance sheet quality, and decades-long dividend growth history, yields this attractive simply do not show up very often. And if you look at valuation from a different angle, using forward earnings multiples instead of dividend yield, the story lines up perfectly. All three of these companies are trading at some of their cheapest forward earnings multiples in the past 2 years. In fact, for two of them, you would have to go all the way back to early 2024 to find a brief window where the stock traded this cheap. This is not a coincidence across three completely different industries. It is a signal that the broader market has temporarily turned its back on stable, cash-generating, dividend-paying businesses in favor of faster-moving growth stories. History has shown us again and again that these periods of undervaluation for quality dividend payers do not last forever. What ties all three of these companies together is simple. Each one sells products that people buy out of habit, not out of excitement, which means demand stays remarkably stable across economic cycles. Each one has a management team that has proven, decade after decade, that it can adapt pricing, packaging, and product lines to protect profitability even when costs rise or consumer habits shift. And each one has rewarded shareholders with rising dividends through good years and bad years alike, which is exactly the kind of reliability you want underpinning a long-term income portfolio, especially if you're getting closer to retirement and want your investments working quietly in the background instead of keeping you up at night. Of course, no stock is completely risk-free, and short-term headwinds like tariffs, changing consumer habits, and shifting health trends are real factors that could keep pressuring these businesses for a while longer. That is exactly why patience matters so much with dividend investing. You're not trying to catch a quick trade. You are positioning yourself to collect a growing stream of income for years, potentially decades, while also giving the share price time to recover toward its fair value. If you found value in this breakdown, do me a favor and hit the like button. It genuinely helps this video reach more people who are trying to build real, lasting wealth through dividends instead of gambling on short-term trends. And if you want us to dig into more undervalued income stocks like these three, leave a comment telling me which sector you would like us to cover next, whether that is banking, healthcare, energy, or something else entirely. Building wealth through dividends is not about finding some secret formula or timing the market perfectly. It is about identifying strong, durable businesses, trading below their true worth, buying patiently, reinvesting those dividends when you can, and simply giving time the chance to do the heavy lifting. These three companies, with their brand power, their pricing strategies, and their multi-decade dividend growth streaks, represent exactly the kind of foundation a long-term income portfolio can be built on. Keep learning, keep researching, and keep showing up here on Tickerhawk, because next week we will be back with another set of opportunities the rest of the market has not caught on to just yet.